All right, so here's the issue. You feel stuck in life. You have no idea what you're doing, where you're going, or maybe you know where you want to go, but you don't necessarily know how to get there. Or maybe you know how to get there, but you feel like you always have to take a detour, something is always happening, or maybe you are exerting so much effort and nothing is coming from it. And perhaps you don't know why. The solution is your progressed lunation phase. This is literally the aha, mind-blowing information that will make everything make sense. All right, so in this video, I am going to discuss your progressed lunation phase and how it will tell you exactly what chapter in life you're in. All right, so stick around. You definitely don't want to miss this. Hello, my loves. As always, I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. If you're new around here, welcome. My name is Mel. I'm a professional astrologer and sound therapist, and I'm the founder of Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. And as always, if you are returning, welcome back. So this video is all about your progressed lunation phase, all right? And this essentially lets you know what chapter in life you are in, okay? So before we get into all of the details, this is video number 5 and the final video in my Moon Mastery video series. If you haven't watched any of the other 4 videos, I would suggest you do so before getting into this one. The links will be in the description box below, so definitely check those out. All right, so now let's talk about your life's chapter. So let us put 15 minutes on the clock and let's get into it. All right, so like I said in the intro, the problem is you know where you're going, but maybe not only do you feel out of sync, but like nothing is happening. And this is because you might be out of chapter. Now, we've talked about the moon ad nauseum in this series. We talked about how you're out of sync and how to fix that. We've talked about the 8 phases of the moon. We've talked about your moon sign versus your moon phase, which you can find in your natal chart. We've talked about getting your month and your life in order with your lunar return chart. And now we're going to talk about a different chart, but this chart is really, in my eyes, very special. Okay, so I want to first talk about briefly your natal chart versus your progressed natal chart. So I want you to think of your natal chart as a picture. It's like a snapshot of the cosmos at the moment you were born. The minute you took your first breath, the universe memorialized it by taking a photo. That's your natal chart. It's kind of static, but it's the basis for everything. Now, I want you to contrast that with your progressed natal chart. Your progressed natal chart is like a movie. So if your natal chart is a picture or a photo, your progressed natal chart is a movie. And it details your life from your inception and beyond. I call it a movie because it shows your evolution. Now, this is a topic for another video, but one thing I want you to understand is that you will not be your sun sign forever. The sun, just like all the planets in our solar system, they move. And that movement is captured by your progressed natal chart. And so you may start out as a Gemini sun, and then over time you become a Cancer sun. And then over time after that, you would become a Leo sun. So as a Gemini, if you can't stand Leos, understand that in this lifetime, you might end up being one. Essentially, like I said, your progress chart shows your progression or your evolution. Now, just like your natal moon phase was really important, so is your progressed moon phase. Now, your natal moon phase, as a refresher, not only details your personality, but also your purpose. Your progressed moon phase lets you know what chapter of life you are in. And when I discovered this, it blew my mind and it made everything make sense. So, I want you to really internalize and memorialize the 8 phases of the moon. Okay. And that was video 2 in the series. So if you need to revisit that, definitely do so. Because the same 8 phases translate into your progressed lunar phase. So, like we said, the new moon is initiation, it's starting something new. The full moon is culmination. Waxing is doing. Waning is being and resting, right? It's the same thing with your progressed phase. And what your progressed lunar phase even is the relationship between your progressed sun and your progressed moon. Again, I'm not going to go into the details of your progressed chart because that could be a whole course in itself. But your current progressed lunar phase equals your current chapter in life. And this progressed lunar phase spans 30 years. So you can think of the progressed lunar phase, the progressed seasons of your progressed lunar phase as soul seasons or chapters. Perfect example. Let's say that you are in your progressed full moon phase. And by the way, each progressed phase lasts between 3 to 4 years. So you could be on day 1 of your progressed full moon phase, and it will last for the next 4 years. Okay. So during this phase of life, this chapter of life, if you will, it could be characterized by one phrase: we outside. This is the chapter of life where you are literally out there. You are shining, right? Think of what the full moon means generally. It's shining, it illuminates, it is seen. So if this is the phase of life that you're in right now, this is the time for you to really put yourself out there. This is the time to broadcast what you do, who you are, be seen. By contrast, if you are in a progressed new moon phase, this is the time when you are incubating. This is the time when you are consciously creating. This is the time where you are gearing up for a new 30-year cycle. And when you experience a progressed new moon phase, it's a big deal because it not only signifies a new chapter in your life, it's a completely new book. It's a complete reset. It's like a rebirth, if you will. Okay. And so, why is this important? Because if you don't know what chapter you're in, perhaps the actions that you're taking right now just aren't hitting. Okay. I'll give you a perfect example. Myself, as I always use. Literally on July 1st, 2025, I started my progressed new moon phase. And it's the feeling, it literally feels like a rebirth. Now, if you understand the lunar phases, which you should at this point, you'll realize that the phase before the new moon is the waning crescent or the balsamic phase. This is the phase where everything is quiet, everything dies down, everything ends, and everything is literally in preparation for the new moon that's coming. And so if I began my new moon progressed phase on July 1st, 2025, that means that I was in the balsamic phase from 2021 to 2025. Now, during these years, this is when I was launching Divine Feminine Works. This is when I was trying to do a lot of new things. And guess what? They weren't really working out how I wanted them to. I was able to launch this business clearly because you're watching this video, but so many things that I tried to start were just not starting. They were not launching. They were not doing what they were supposed to do. And that was because I was in a phase of life that was marked by endings. That balsamic, that progressed balsamic phase is all about endings. Trying to start anything new at that time is an exercise in futility. Like, shit just won't happen, or it won't happen to completion, because that's not the chapter of life you're in. That is the chapter of life where you just surrender. And that can seem like a really daunting thing because it means that for 4 years, you're just surrendering. And looking back at it, that's kind of what I was doing. I couldn't help but rest. I couldn't help but not do the most because anything I tried to do wasn't really working out anyway. That was the universe's way of preparing me for right now. Right now, for me, it's go time. So you're probably going to see me a lot more. You're going to hear of me starting a lot of new things, which there are a lot of new things on the way, because that's the season, that's the chapter of life I'm in. So the question becomes, what chapter of life are you in? And what are you currently up to? What are you doing? And is that in alignment with that chapter? When you are supposed to be initiating things, that's not the time when you really want to be resting. Ideally, you wanted to have rested before so that you can have the energy to do these new things. Or maybe you've been in a season of tinkering in your workshop, right? You've been working on things, you've been actively taking action. Well, the next and logical chapter is for you to put things out there, for you to show everyone what you've been working on, to display the fruits of your labor. There's a time and there's a chapter for that in life. But if you don't know what these chapters are, again, it's like you're doing things at the wrong time, or you're doing things and you don't know why they're not working out, or you've got all this energy and there's nothing to work toward. You haven't set any goals. Or maybe you're still running the race well after you've crossed the finish line. The progressed lunation phase tells you what chapter you are in life. Point blank, period. And when you know that information, now life makes sense. Now, because the whole lunation cycle, when we're talking about your progressed chart, is 30 years, right? So think of from new moon phase to full moon and back to new moon takes 30 years. That's a long time. And so each phase takes, like I said, 3 to 4 years, which again can feel like a long time. But if you think about it, 4 years ago was 2021, and that does not seem like it was that long ago at all. So time goes quickly. But knowing what you should be up to, knowing what to anticipate, because it's not just telling you what chapter you are in life, it's going to tell you the themes that are going to come up at that time as well. There's so many different charts in astrology that can tell you a whole bunch of things. But when we talk about your natal chart and your progressed natal chart, when you look at those two things together, it can blow your mind what it can tell you. Not only when to do things, but what kind of themes you'll encounter, how to best prepare, how to best use the energy. It's not only these charts that tell you that, but I tell you that because, of course, I've got services to match all of these things. But knowing is half the battle. Part of the reason why I got into astrology was because I was in a very dark phase in my life. After my progressed full moon phase, in my progressed full moon phase, I was out there, I was doing so much. And when things started to decline and I experienced the darkest part of my life, I had no idea why and what I should be doing. I was so lost. It was astrology that honestly saved me. And not saved in a savior kind of way, it enlightened me. And in that enlightenment, I knew not only what I should be doing, but when to do it. And when you look at all of these things together, whether you're looking at your natal chart, your lunar return chart, or your progressed natal chart, everything becomes clearer. Everything makes more sense. And when everything makes sense, it's like when you know better, you do better. And that is the cheat code to life, which again, astrology gives you. Astrology gives you that not only the blueprint, but the instruction manual. And so, in terms of your progressed chart, because honestly speaking, your progressed natal chart, it's very much an advanced astrology study, right? You don't have too many people really delving into their progressed natal charts themselves. And so, of course, I offer a progressed natal chart reading, and it's contained within my signature coaching service, which is called the Mirror. The Mirror not only looks at your progressed natal chart, but it looks at your natal chart and your transits. It is a 3-month coaching incubator, essentially, where you and I work together to further your objectives using astrology and even numerology in order to facilitate all of that. You'll not only know who you are, but you'll know what you should be up to and when to do the things. And we work together closely one-on-one for 3 months in order to make that happen. This is my service that is truly transformational. This is the information you need to go from point A to point B and beyond. It's my favorite service, and it's the one that really can make an impact on your life. And it'll give you all the information, all of the goodies that you'll need to facilitate this. So if you're interested in signing up for the mirror, the first step is to book a clarity call. It's a 15-minute free call where you and I can discuss what it is that you need and essentially how I could be of service to you and what this coaching incubator could look like for you. And if you're interested, the link to book a clarity call will be in the description box below. I'm so excited, not just for that service, but for the fact that we have spent 5 videos together learning everything that you need to know about the moon, how to use the energy, and how to live your best life. And with 46 seconds to spare. I'm so privileged and honored to be able to bring this information to you. I hope that you found this information enlightening, and I really hope to be able to work with you soon, definitely sooner rather than later, in one capacity or another. And if not, if this is where you drop off, hopefully you've had 5 dope videos of how to work with the moon and a freebie, my mini moon map that you can use to start to start living that lunar lifestyle and get your life together. All right, my loves, I'm so thankful to have brought this information to you. I hope that you use it. I hope that you found it interesting, and I hope that it helps to change your life one moon cycle at a time. All right, my loves, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care.